coming up on this episode of Free Lunch.
Wait, let me finish. Let me finish the thought. No, pause. Let me finish my thought.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Because I'm gonna forget it. No.
The timing of that joke wasn't bad. The actual joke itself wasn't even that bad. If you got to have some context on who Chris Rock is. He's told way darker, grimier jokes than that.
The only way I can gauge if there's a time that my wife needs my aid or defense is based on what she's giving me, what cues.
Because some wives are irresponsible with their husband's emotions.
Yes. If I'm about to get up on my seat and smack this dude and my wife goes and grabs me, now I'm not trying to hurt or embarrass her.
Yeah, but that same pressure comes from our own people, because when this happened, part of the commentary on it was, why does it always got to be us? Why?
But
that's coming from us saying that.
Anyways, Ro here seems to think that Will Smith should have been able to just stay in his seat because he's a comedian like Chris Rock's a comedian, and two comedians should get each other's joke. Or he said, or he's saying that because Will Smith has a sense of humor, he should have got the joke.
No. That's
definitely what you just said.
Let me back up.
Yeah.
You don't have to get the joke, but you understand what Chris Rock's role is. From one funny guy to another funny guy. You understand his role. I feel like if Will was hosting the show, he'd be looking in the audience, looking to crack on somebody.
Okay, correct.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So I'm not saying he has to understand the joke. The joke, I don't like, personally, I understand why he's upset about the joke. I'm just saying from one person who understands what those guys do.
All right, so let's exaggerate it with a more visibly noticeable like impairment of, a disability of some kind for somebody. So my role as the host, I'm supposed to be like the comedic relief.
Mm-hmm.
So does that justify, should the host stand up and like, let me target the person sitting in the wheelchair over there in the second row, and you know what I mean? So what? That we know that that's his role and that's his like job. Like, so yeah, we get that, but in getting that, there's still a sense of like having like tact and like taste to it. You don't target the.
Nah.
What are you talking about?
No, because what I'm saying, well, you got to give it context. And it's funny too. It's funny when it comes to this particular art, comedy, because comedy is all about timing too. Because guys like Chappelle have no filter, but their timing sometimes could be really good. Like they just know when it's the right time to tell that joke.
Yeah.
Chris Rock, the timing of that joke wasn't bad. The actual joke itself wasn't even that bad. You got to have some context on who Chris Rock is. He's told way darker, grimier jokes than that. But
so
I think
you don't think that timing was bad?
No, I just think he didn't know. That's my whole basis.
He didn't know what?
That's from a sickness. I think he thought that was from fashion choice or from a role. Like she's getting ready to play a role or something, or that was just something she wanted to do.
You really believe that? You believe Chris Rock didn't know?
If he did, then I'm wrong. I don't see him saying he did. If he comes out and he says, "Yo, I didn't know that, I shouldn't have went there," that's all fine and good.
Why do you think he apologized?
Because I think he really felt like, "Yo, now that I do know, that was messed up." Like I'm saying, if he knew, that's a whole other thing. But there was no sign up until that apology, unless you're saying you're taking that apology as him knowing.
No.
If he didn't know, then I don't see.
What I'm saying is, there's no way he didn't know. I don't buy that.
I'm not arguing whether he did or didn't. I'm just saying that's not out of pocket, though. That joke is not out of pocket.
No, the joke in and of itself. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's not.
It's not.
But if
he knew and didn't, like if he knew and still did it, then there's a whole nother justification for
bad timing, homeboy.
for what happened.
Bad timing.
You know what I'm saying? There's a whole other justification for what happened. But the conversation though of people acting like they don't understand what it is for a husband who felt like his wife has been disrespected on a whole other level. I think a lot of people are not like you said to me earlier, not taking the whole thing into consideration, like everything leading up to that to that situation.
Be More Simone says he didn't know. A lot of people didn't know.
Okay.
All right. I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't,
he did. Okay. So let's go with he didn't know.
Yeah. If he didn't know, then
so he didn't know. So does that make you feel any different way about Will Smith's reaction then? So
yeah.
If we go with the premise, Chris Rock didn't know Will.
If he didn't know,
so shame on Will.
If he didn't know, Will messed up.
Will messed up. If he didn't know.
Now, messed up in what he did. Addressing it to Chris Rock after, pulling him to the side and saying whatever you got to say is fine. But if he didn't know,
that's fair.
That's not out of pocket what he did. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what he does.
I just feel I don't know. I guess I wanna, because I saw in some like YouTube comments people saying how they felt a whole different way about Will Smith after this.
Yeah.
And but here, so speaking to that point, right? I think people who would make a comment like that, they're saying that because of what we perceive as Will being a very intelligent, wise person.
Right.
I think. Okay. At least I'll go with me. I feel like I have that perception of Will Smith. I think he's a smart, wise guy. So that makes me think a person of his character, I feel like only responds like that the way he did if he knew that Chris Rock knew. That's where I'm going with that.
That's a theory.
My opinion, idea of how I see Will's character is as smart as a man Will is, as mature we've seen him to be. A man like that comes out of character when the target is aware of what they're doing. You know, my wife has this concern. That's just my opinion. Now, obviously, other mitigating factors or things could have been going on in his day, his life, for the week. It could have been him dealing with freaking a bunch of other people outside of Chris Rock, maybe taking jabs at his wife for being funny. He just was like, you know what? Whether you know or not, I don't care. I'm coming for you.
I think that could be it too. I think that's one theory. I think this was built up over a period of time. And I think it being built up over a period of time, I think this joke right here, because one of the theories that I'm hearing from a lot of people is that his wife has belittled him so much and has embarrassed him so much and all this other stuff, all the way back to the entanglement, that this was him kind of like
the emotions
boiling up and him standing up for himself and because he was dragged for the August Alsina situation, the entanglement, the dude that she was messing with on the side. Social media dragged him for that.
Yes.
And so now here go another joke
this
on
was
his
some
wife.
type of like vengeance.
Yeah, and it was like, you know what? Today wasn't the day. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to just take this out. And I personally don't think it's connected like that. Personally, I don't think it's the same situation because the other argument is, well, he should have treated August Alsina like that. He should have stepped into his face and carried da. But I don't think these two situations is not the same thing. Because in that situation, your own wife, right?
Yeah,
went ahead and did that.
Yeah.
Why would you go? Why would
different.
That's like the dude. That's like the girlfriend or the wife that cheated, and you go beat up the dude. Like, she did it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's the same situation.
But this is what happens, I think, when you have a lot of stress and pressure to I want to say in a general sense, perform is the word I want to use, but I think that doesn't fit quite, the way I wanted to. I think when you have maybe pressure as that man in secret behind closed doors to prove that you're for your spouse. Right? So we don't know the conversations that happen.
That's what I said.
Between the two of them behind closed doors on a daily, like, Will, I feel like, you don't, support me or you don't come down. And she might be saying those things on like much smaller levels, like not like don't physically protect me or whatever, but like it could be just in the whole like celebrity scene or, stuff celebrities deal with, not us regular people. Right. So it could be those conversations that build up in secret.
I believe that.
In a person. And
I believe that.
And now when just even a small, otherwise, in a different scenario, in a different context, something that transpired that I would have been able to let roll off my shoulder, and even you would have been able to, honey, let roll off your shoulder. This is my opportunity to show you.
Yeah.
I do support you. I do got your back, and watch this.
But here's the part, though, that throws a twist in this whole scenario, because he started to laugh.
That's what kind of tripped me up.
Almost like he was going to let it go. Like, he started to laugh, and then when the camera, like, switched to Jada.
Pan to Jada a little bit,
and
you
then
see her face.
Her face was like, nah.
Like,
and then I'm pretty sure he looked at her like, oh, I bet, I got you. Like,
I don't
know
know.
What I'm saying? It's like,
but listen,
what happened there?
Listen, I have been known to smirk and laugh when I am highly livid.
Right,
okay,
right.
So
it's like an automated response.
All my kids, all my daughters know this for sure. Almost to the point where, like, recently, like a couple weeks ago, my youngest daughter, she got in trouble for something, and I was like, I called myself intentionally, like, presenting, like, with the like smile during the discussion for the sake of actually trying to make her feel more at ease.
Yeah.
But it completely, like, skipped my mind that I forgot I also have used that same expression when I'm pissed off. So I couldn't for the life of me figure out why she was still, like, very on high edge during the conversation. So when we finished, I said, I'm like, hey, like it's all right. Like, we're cool. Like, do I look like I'm upset, or like, am I, like, bugging out or flipping out?
Yeah.
And she was like, no. I said, so why do you look like so like worried and afraid like that? And she's like, because I know when you're also really mad. And I'm like, you're right. I have been known to do that. So yeah, but I did catch me. I didn't expect to catch, even in the beginning though, you catch a little moment of, like, even like Jada, like, she smiles a little, almost like she tries to, like, let it be like, yeah. She was like,
it's like something clicked, man.
And
something
it was just
clicked.
like her drained, like, yo.
So hold on. We got some people jumping in on the comments, man. My boy Louis said Chris Rock should have said, that's gonna hurt until August.
That's not right.
No, that's messed up, bro. Louis, that's messed
funny.
up, bro.
That was hilarious, though. Be more Simone. Will laughed at the joke, and after he saw her get uneasy, he switched his demeanor.
Right.
You know what? But you know what we don't see in that camera angle is we don't see both their faces in any frame.
Right.
So we're assuming Will saw and looked at Jada.
Right.
We're assuming that.
And we don't know if Jada said anything after that, because there was a moment before he even stepped on the stage where they could have exchanged, they could have talked to each other.
So then she says, as a black celeb of an elite stature, Will was wrong, period. Denzel would never, and Denzel's wife would not encourage nor condone him to step out of character like that. Well, do we know that? Like, do you think Jada knew from the time he got out of his seat that that's what he was actually going to do?
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought, and my wife made this point, she thought it looks like, when he's walking up, that maybe he just would have went into his ear and said, like, yo, bro, like, that's not cool, man.
That's what I thought he was going to do.
Like, yo, like, chill. Like, you know what I mean?
That's what I thought he was going to do. Then when he really, like, went at him,
I
was like, yo,
so there's
that's
that.
crazy.
Let me finish her comment. I think this speaks on how much of a bad influence Jada is to him. He married
a lot of people are saying that.
He married a woman who has great qualities, but I don't believe she compliments him at all.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying that it seems one-sided. It seems like Jada's always ridiculing or embarrassing
The wife
Jada.
says Denzel would have all the way slapped someone over his wife. I don't know. I believe it's possible, but I don't think I've ever seen Denzel in that.
Yeah. So
here's
the other question, and this is all to all the husbands, and even if you got a significant other, like it's easy to watch from the outside in, like, okay, I probably wouldn't have done it that way. But under what circumstances what would have to happen? Like what would someone have to say?
But this goes back to my point I made to you when you were like, hey, having people talk about what they would have done if it was in their shoes, right?
Right.
Like, so, like, if I was not just in that immediate shoe in that situation, but if I was also in that situation, also had the money that Will Smith has, also have the influence that Will Smith has, considering
the cachet,
everything.
everything.
If I had his entire life
Right.
and then now insert my brain
Right.
in that situation.
Right.
I can see me doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And why? I say that for a number of reasons. One, because I know I would immediately have like the resources or whatever to, immediately get me out of jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, as a black man, I'm not even thinking I'm going to make it to the stage to do this thing.
Yeah.
First off, like if I know I'm gonna walk up here and smack this dude, I don't even think I'm gonna make it to reach the platform.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's me having like my regular black guy mindset, right? Like I don't know, like when you're Will Smith rich, you just maybe you have just a hint, a little bit of
you don't care.
Well, I was gonna say maybe you start to have a little hint of like white privilege mentality, like
maybe
I don't know, like
since you brought that up, a lot of people are saying if that was like Seth Rogen up there hosting and not Chris Rock
or Ryan Seacrest,
right? That made that joke. Does he get up?
Does he get up and smack him?
Smack him.
That's
very
interesting,
right?
Well, hold on.
But here's why.
Hold on, two things.
Yeah.
Do you think Will gets up and slaps him, and do you think Will even gets up and even makes it to the stage?
I think it's Will.
He makes it to the stage, regardless.
It's Will because he's that type of
he's that guy.
He's that kind of A-list type of actor.
Okay.
But the thing is, and also Chris Rock didn't press charges because our culture don't do that. Other cultures do.
We know not snitching. We know snitching. Stop. This man slapped me. Security. Arrest this man.
But here's my thing. Here's my other point why I think Will actually did this. There's a little bit more to this story, and I was hoping
B. Bronson said exactly. No, he would not.
I don't know if he does it, but I think this was a little bit more personal though. Because I remember distinctly, this was a couple of years ago when a lot of the Black Lives Movement and all that stuff was happening. This probably maybe like 4 years ago. I don't know if you remember this. No black actor was nominated in the Oscar one year.
Uh-huh.
And that was the year Will Smith did the Concussion movie. And he played the doctor that was fighting against the NFL, the concussions. And the overall consensus was that Will's performance was crazy, and he wasn't even nominated. Matter of fact, no black actors was nominated for a main actor that year. So he was pushing, him and Jada was kind of like headlining and pushing like this boycott thing, like let's boycott the Oscar, let's not go. And Chris Rock hosted it that year. And he did like a whole 5-minute like intro talking about Will and Jada and how, why are they trying to tell us to boycott? And he made a joke about Jada saying like, why is it always that people who ain't got no job trying to tell people with jobs not to go to work? In other words, saying, Jada, you're not even out here acting like that. Why are you telling actors to boycott the Oscars? And like, he did like a whole other Rihanna joke having to do with Jada. And I think like there may have been some personal issues built up over a period of time, man. I distinctly remember him going in on the both of them that year.
B. Moore Simone, she said 2016 they boycotted. Will and Jada boycotted the Oscar. And Chris Rock joked about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think from that point on, there's probably just never really rocked with him like that. Like there was no, you know what I'm saying?
But I want to go back to this comment I saw. Who put this? B. Bronson said, as professional men, especially of color, you don't act in violence on national television. That's your brother. Chris was clearly not aware of her condition and acted as public figures should under circumstances. Will was clearly tickled for a split second until he saw the camera on his wife's face, which was an uncomfortable smirk. Then he reacted by instinct under the pressure of the public. Personally, a public apology would have been nice, but after being physical, who knows?
The professional thing, man.
You know what? I totally get the, where we're coming from with being professional, and especially that much more so feeling that burden of being professional because we're black people,
right?
And there's already
always
this negative picture,
right. A lot of talk about that.
But to Goddess Free's point, she says, "Can we stop caring about being on our best professional behavior for for white people though, because this was the Oscars. It sent black people into a social media frenzy. But if this was BET, it would not have been the same. I don't know. I think it would still equally be like
it's the two people. If Chris Rock, if Will Smith smacked Chris Rock on any platform, it's gonna go crazy. You know what I'm saying?
But I will say it is kind of an unfair burden.
I know what you mean.
Of sorts.
Always having to perform.
To have to always and even overperform. You know what I mean? I remember like my dad as a young black man, young teenage kid growing up in New Haven. My dad, always telling me when I be going to school is like, always make sure you got to be working twice as hard as everybody else in the room. You know what I mean? And ideas like that, kind of taking past just immediate performance in a certain task or job, but then also just, the weight of feeling like I always have to keep it together because I represent or will represent how the world sees all black people.
Correct.
If I, become emotional, overwhelmed, frustrated, and, to some extent, right, shouldn't everybody get a chance to just be frustrated?
And that goes, but that same pressure comes from our own people because when this happened, part of the commentary on it was, why does it always got to be us? Why? But that's coming from us saying that.
But that only comes from us because of what I just said.
Right.
Right, because if there was a collective us, in quotes, that didn't feel from society at large like that, we have to overperform and we have to overly keep it together. Whereas, the next person, they're given they're given a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've heard it be said before, I'm, not political in the least, but we hear in media before when, some, white person goes into a public place and there's a mass shooting, the media, goes to wondering, did they have mental health disorder? Maybe they needed psychological help. A black person, like, shoot somebody, people on the street, it's like, that hoodlum, they're, this... It's that versus do they get the same benefit of the doubt of, maybe they, had a bad upbringing in childhood and maybe they had this emotional weight and, mental, verbal abuse or whatever. And that led to that,
Got you.
So I could get feeling the burden of feeling like you have to be professional.
And he said that if you listen to his award speech, he didn't go the race route, but he talked about being a celebrity and this idea that you have to just maintain abuse and then put on a smile or put on a face as people just critique your entire life. And he felt like he had just had it. Like he was at his wit's end with the fact that, celebrities are supposed to sit back and just take people's criticism. And I think a lot of it's stemming from the last 3 years, whatever, of the family being under the microscope.
Facts.
Even down to his kids. Like people are always talking about the kids and, why they acting like da.
Yeah.
And this was like a long time coming. But I just think even still, the issue that broke the camel's back to me just wasn't like, it wasn't crazy enough to break the camel's back.
But
usually
the thing that breaks the camel's back is not historically ever crazy.
Yeah. You're right.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's the built up, and that's that little bit.
It only takes the little thing.
Yeah,
you know what
that
I mean?
little
bit. Somebody said whether it was BET stage, the same would have been for them, right? Like physical violence is never like cool.
Yeah.
And I agree. I get that. Simone says, man, if he didn't defend it would have hit the media, and him slapping him would hit the media.
Nah. If nothing happened right there, this is not a story, because Chris Rock and a lot of the hosts have been cracking jokes like that all night.
Yeah, I think it would have got through without creating much of a media frenzy.
It wouldn't have been a frenzy if this didn't happen.
Somebody else said, J.L. Beasley said it would have been the same. It was inappropriate period. Physical violence never the answer. Cassandra, I don't think he immediately realized what the joke was referencing. I thought when I first heard it, I low key actually took it as like a compliment.
I saw that. I saw some people saying, but G.I. Jane was like a dope character.
So how I took it was kind of, an ode to sexy black women, because there's only very few, or black people, forget black, or people, period, but women who could like wear that look and be sexy still. So that's how I took it. Was,
let me tell you when he messed up. Did you listen to the crowd's reaction? It was half clap, half ooh.
No, but that's what I mean. So there's two different ways that you could have interpreted.
I don't think he was trying to do it that way. I think he went on and said, "Oh, that wasn't that bad. That wasn't that bad." Like he meant it in a negative way.
Simone said it would hurt more, I think, for me on BET. Oscars, they're unfair anyway, so whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I can see that. It being a predominantly all black platform, I think it probably looks worse for the black community, maybe.
Maybe.
I think the whole situation on both ends was wrong. I also think this is a great teaching moment for all, both the power of words and actions. JL Beasley says too much is given, much is required, and he should have exercised more restraint.
Yeah.
Than that, he even laughed first.
But my thing,
wait. It landed more as he overreacted because his wife corrected him versus him authentically protecting his wife.
I don't know, man. I think we're looking into, again, I'm reading into
exactly. Caress says we don't get the same benefit of the doubt. I agree with Caress.
I'm reading into what he said in the acceptance speech when he said that, we're always forced to hide behind, our smiles and accept the abuse from the public. I don't think the smile was authentic. I think a lot of people is like, oh, why did he smile in the beginning? And then he looked at Jade. I don't think that initial smile was even authentic.
That's why I said.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the sinister, I'm pissed off, sick of this
smile. It was just like, ha, 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 but I'm going to punch you in your face as soon as I see. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought, like, to your point, I thought he was going to do all of that, and we was going to hear about that they had an altercation in the back.
Here's another point I like to bring up when it comes to just as a husband, right?
Yeah.
Of like, what do you do if you're in that situation?
Yeah.
For me, especially if it has to be like a physical, element, right? Or if I feel a physical urge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that scene in 300 where King Leonidas is like with his wife standing at the edge of the open well where the messenger is, and like he kicks the guy into the well, right? Yeah. Do you remember what happened, what King Leonidas does right before he kicks the guy into the hole? You know what he does?
What?
He turns and looks at his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife kind of gives that non-verbal,
like, yeah, do what you got to do.
Do it. Hold on. But here's the thing. Why do you think King Leonidas looks at his wife? Here's my idea.
Mm-hmm.
The king looks at his wife for the kind of like the green light.
Yeah.
Because the king knew from that moment, when I go do this, I know the potential repercussions is what's going to happen next. And I need to make sure you, my other half, we're on the same page. You're okay with whatever backlash fire happens. So for me, if we're going to go into, I don't care if it's a potentially like, heightened space, whether it's the club, whether it's a neighborhood where we know people get reckless, whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if I'm going to do this, whether me and my wife have this kind of standing agreement before we go out into the public, or if I got to get that green light look from her face, it's because I know what I'm about to go do, even if it's for your defense. You and I both need to be okay with whatever happens past this. So if I get locked up, if I lose my career, I can't afford the thing and the lifestyle that we got now because I felt that you needed me to stand in the gap this heavy for you on your behalf and defend you like this, rather than just simply take this man to the side or wait and later and talk to him.
It's more of a display, you're saying.
We got to be on the same page.
But I think one of the pushback I've seen a lot on social media is that this seems the fact you said it earlier. This seems uncharacteristic of Will, and it's yet again another situation that Jada seems to be the puppet master behind an ordeal that put Will in a bad light. Like Jada seems to be the reason behind the last two big issues we've seen Will go through. And so the question, some of the questions or some of the things I've seen people say is like, you know, that the situation, I've seen people saying, I'm sorry for Will, almost. Like, I'm sorry that he got to go through all of this stuff, and it's always, she's always the origin of all these ordeals. And so now, and I think what they're implying is she worth all of this? Is she worth the whole August thing? Now you out here slapping people for her. Now you know what I'm saying? Like, is she worth all that? And that's not for us to say. I'm just saying that's one of the arguments
because things like worth and value are both just like how they say beauty is.
Yeah, right,
in the eye of the beholder.
Right. And I completely agree, because and even still, let's say they are having marital issues or whatever. Marriages can be repaired. Marriages can be rebuilt.
Yeah.
It's not for us to really dive into what's going on in their marriage. All we know is, from what he's told us, is that he loves his wife, and he's not gonna let nobody talk about his wife in a certain type of way, especially over the fact that she's sick. So I don't really dive too much into the psychoanalysis of their marriage situation. I'm just saying, from face value, if you're looking at this situation, especially if you're a husband, don't be so quick to say, I would have handled myself professionally. Don't be so quick to say, I would have done it this way, that way, because you never know, bro.
Yeah, Goddess Free says, unpopular opinion, I'll Stone Cold Steve Austin someone for my husband. Professional or not, don't try me. It might be in your favor.
Hey, listen, man, you just never know, bro. You never know when it comes to some of these type of situations.
So what do you do in that situation? This is you. Your wife has terminal cancer. She's losing her hair. And let's go with both scenarios. Let's first go with the scenario. The person who's hosting an event you're at, they actually know you guys personally, and they know of her situation.
If they know me personally, I'm doing the whisper thing. I'm walking up there and I'm saying, bro, after this, you're gonna have to meet me outside.
Well, not necessarily know you personally. They know about.
Yeah, and they they still made the joke. Yes. So I'm saying, but you said they know me personally?
No. They don't know you personally, but they know of your wife's disease.
If they,
so y'all not close, but he knows that.
Yeah. I think.
What are you doing?
I think I'm thinking.
Are you looking at your wife? Are you going to first check and make sure she's good?
I'm definitely checking to make sure she.
If she
if she got that look on her face, like, yo, you know, like it's about to come, like it's about
to cry,
like it's about to be waterworks. Like if she looking at me,
she looking real hurt.
But if it look like it's about to come, somebody might get smacked. If it look like it's about to come, somebody might get smacked. If she looking at me like, yo, babe, don't even trip. Don't even trip. I might talk some jump from my seat, like, yo, okay, keep talking.
Hold on, but see, and that's what I feel like. That's at least what the kind of wife I feel like I think that's. I think your wife. It depends on
wife too. It depends on wife, because some wives are irresponsible with their husband's emotions.
Yes, that's that
part. Some wives are irresponsible with their husband's emotions. You know your husband is lit like that.
I think if you know you got, I think if you're a wife and you know you got a husband who could potentially lose his mind,
right, and you're gonna take advantage of that.
I think you're kind of like, hey, babe, chill. Or even if you see him get up and you don't know really what he's gonna do because he looks calm, he's getting up, smiling. You're probably like, "Hey, what you doing? What you about to do?" You probably kind of trying to see like what's happening. You know what I mean? Like I feel like my wife, she knows that about me. I think my wife can read me.
Yeah.
Right. So if she's like, even if she's like kind of pissed, but not pissed enough where she's like. Ready to take the Jet Li collar off of me.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of like, you know, probably she's probably like, reference. She's probably like, you know what, babe, you know, forget it, don't even stress it. But I think Will Smith really like pulled a doozy on the wife, like, which I feel like if I knew my wife was gonna try to stop me of something that I really wanted to do, I probably would have tried to, on my own self, try to throw her for a loop. And kind of pretend like I'm straight. Just so I can like get at dude.
Yeah. But that's what I was gonna do. But that's part of the argument though. Like, and I see what the people who are saying puppeting Will is talking about. Would Will have done that? Let's say Jada wasn't there. Still, everything is still true. Everything's still true. She's really sick. She's just not there. Does he go up there and do it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think so, but because I think, again, like, that is what kind of fuels.
Why you even go that far?
The man having this, like, you know, boil over is just like, yo, it offended me, and on top of it, my wife is right here,
Right.
and on top of that, it's like triple layered, and on top of that, my wife looks hurt or disappointed or pissed or whatever. You know what I mean? And then it's the part that, like you said, like, do we have a personal relationship? Like, I know Chris Rock said, like, you know, Will Smith is, you know, supposed to be his friend, but that's something that, like, a bunch of celebrities.
Everybody say that. Everybody.
You know, when you're celebrities and we're all rich, like, yeah, we're all friends. Like, not really, right? Like, are you real friends? Like, do you come over to, like, the family cookout barbecue?
Yeah.
Kind of friends. And so if you are my friend, again, insert me in that situation, I'm kind of like, I might still slap you.
Right.
But because you're my friend, I'm gonna let you come off stage. I'm gonna let you have your moment.
It goes, but the
and you know what? Like you're all the way getting all of this collar snatched up, like somewhere.
But the friend
behind
thing,
the scene.
friend thing goes both ways. I think it's hard for me if that is my friend and they messed up. They said the wrong thing. It's hard for me if that was my friend at some point for me to go up and smack him in the face only because I understand what it means. For him, like, I don't know if Chris Rock is married. I don't know if he got kids.
But if you're my friend, you understand what it means for me and my wife.
That's what I'm saying. It goes both ways. So, but do you respond that irrationally to physically smack him, or do you whisper something in his ear and be like, "Yo, after this, we got to talk because you was wilding out," or do you just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like, what does this do now, for Chris Rock and the people and how his family view him, how his friends are going to take this whole situation. He got to go back to his kids if he got kids, his own wife I don't know if he's married or not, but he got to go back and talk to those people with this circulating all over the internet.
Lori Phillips said, if Will would have taken the high road and then given the same acceptance speech, things would have looked bad for Chris Rock. Now, instead of remembering the award he won, that night will be remembered for the encounter between the two. Will was actually laughing until he got Jada Sada.
Correct.
You know what? I think
that's the worst thing about this. That we're not highlighting the fact that Will actually got Best Actor award.
Yeah,
and we're talking about the slap.
He kind of sabotaged a bit of his own moment.
His own moment.
But someone would argue that moment in any moment is worth, you know, coming to what they feel is their wife's aid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It might have been a bigger moment than the Oscar to him.
But again, that's the point I make about it takes you and your wife knowing what's worth it for the two of you.
Yeah.
We're on the same page of what's worth it.
But I think that's what people are questioning, though.
Questioning what?
People are questioning that, questioning whether
Jada has that.
Yeah, whether it's of equal worth to Jada what he did.
Oh, like if it was Will who's losing his hair.
Would Jada have the same energy to just be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Are they mutually the same on that type of reaction, or is just Will jumping out the box to prove something? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't think she would have the same energy if somebody has said something to Will like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
JLBZ said, not highlighting the award lost the impact that the show was directed by a black man.
Right. Unfortunately.
Loss of Quest.
Unfortunately.
Loves award. You know, but again, it's, I think for every what if scenario, putting any of us who are watching on the live now, if you just listen and hear about the story, if you're married, these are things that you and your spouse, I feel you have to know about each other. And hopefully it's something that you kind of discuss and figure out in the dating phase of your relationship, right? Before you commit and become married. Because as a man, I don't want to have my own personal idea about life and things I feel like are worth physical intervention or fighting for in a physical way. And then my wife has a whole separate idea.
Correct.
And then when we have moments like this
Correct.
cross our lives, we're on two different pages. And then now my wife looks at me like either a sucker or looks at me like I don't protect her, and she feels like she feels unprotected and not cared for, not loved for, right? I need my wife to know we both are kind of on the same page when it comes to things we feel like are worth potentially risking our freedom, you know, getting locked up, potentially worth our financial stability or whatever. Like we need to be on the same page of what we feel like in life. is worth risking it all.
Yeah.
All of it could burn to the ground. We don't care.
And again, man, I keep circling back to this because I'm looking at the comments and Cassandra just said, he tried to justify his joke. Again, what Chris Rock was doing and what some of the other comedians of that night was doing is norm. It's norm. That's what they do. They go up there and they crack jokes on people. And I think the people that are villainizing Chris Rock are making it seem like Chris Rock was out of pocket for the joke. I
don't really see much of that. I really feel at least what I'm seeing
because people are saying you don't joke on another man's wife like that.
I feel like more people are getting on Will Smith.
Yeah.
I feel like more people.
Both. I see both. I feel like some people are saying you don't joke on another man like wife like that. So
I'm hearing that. But people are saying,
if you're gonna tell a joke like that, be prepared to scrap all that type of stuff.
No,
and that's what he does. No,
I'm hearing that, but I'm hearing people then follow up and go, but Will shouldn't have handled it.
Yeah, his response was wrong. But people are saying his response was wrong. You know what I'm saying? But let's say Will didn't slap. Chris Rock, but it was more of like they went up on stage. He went on stage, and they just kind of yelled at each other back and forth. Sat down, maybe heckled each other. Maybe he stayed in the seat, and they were just arguing back and forth on the stage.
Lori says his speech pretty much addressed the matter. Most women don't want their man to get into a confrontation, especially with a national audience. I would agree. I think most women don't want their husband to get into a physical confrontation, especially on national TV.
But he did that thinking he was doing something for her.
Yeah, but see, again, it makes me like I'm just trying to also give Jada the benefit of the doubt here,
right.
In saying that we're saying that assuming she knew exactly what he was getting up out of his seat and going to do on that stage.
I don't think she knew that.
I don't think she knew that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. But I'm not even. when I talk about that part, I'm not talking about Jada's
Jada like leaned into his ear was like,
no.
Hey, go slap that nigga.
No, but I'm just saying. Like, why does he feel like he needed to do? What is he like? What was he trying to prove? What happened? And again, we don't know. This is all speculation, people. What was he trying to prove to Jada by doing it? Or maybe that wasn't even for Jada. Maybe he was trying to prove something to himself. Like, what was he trying to prove to himself?
Exactly. I mentioned that before.
By doing that.
But at least if I'm being honest as a husband, even things that I feel like I have to rise to that degree of coming out of pocket or out of my character to, prove something to myself.
Yeah.
Usually that thing in myself, that broken thing, is being fueled and remains broken from something happening behind the closed doors.
Yeah, and that's what I believe. I believe this is bent up.
You know what I mean? Like if my wife is back at home and the narrative at home in private is that she feels protected, she feels safe, she feels loved, right?
Yeah.
Now we go out in public and I don't feel like I gotta prove something to myself or really much even to my wife. Like she knows I protect her otherwise. If I choose to not walk up here and slap this dude right now, my wife, I don't have a 1% thought that thinks my wife's gonna say, I didn't protect her. The only way you have that kind of confidence of thinking is that we know the narrative in secret is, I know you got me, babe. Babe, I know you got me.
Yeah.
And we flow and carry ourselves a certain way in public. We handle things a certain way,
Actually, you know what? As you're saying that, I bet you there was a little bit of like a hero complex there too, because when all of the allegations started with the August thing and the entanglement, Will made out like. Will kind of made out like he wasn't at fault for that whole situation. I think all of the criticism and all of the people that was commenting, Jada got the blunt of the dragging, quote unquote, during that situation. And Will, I don't recall any like public like defense.
So what's your point?
To Jada, like, yo, don't be talking about my wife like that. Yo, stay out of our business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't recall him like, you know what I'm saying?
But would that have like... would that have even been expected from like him? I mean,
well, if they're not separating, right? And this is a situation that y'all chose to make public, and the public is going in on it.
What do you mean situation that y'all chose to make public? Because that could have just been her choice.
No, but
so now,
hold on. He agreed to come sit down on her show, and I don't think
just because I came, but I come sit on the show, that doesn't mean I agreed for you to like spill this can, open this can.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but I don't have to be a part of it. I don't have to. Why?
No, but I'm saying he could agree to just that part. It's saying I'll come and talk to because this thing that you're trying to do that you want,
but they're not separated. So in other words, they're trying to repair. I'm assuming that they're trying to get past it. They're trying to move on.
I don't feel compelled to like defend my wife in a scenario where I'm going, hey, this could have just been between you and me, babe, in secret. And now if you put yourself out there and decide that you want to put this out to the world, you have to be prepared for the world's opinion now. Like and then when that happens, I can't then get mad at the world.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, though, especially your personality, so I don't buy that for 1 second.
I would have had that whole talk with my wife. Like, you shouldn't let this out to the world.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but it's out. It's out, right?
Yeah, but by what means?
Hold on. Well,
that matters based on what I would do.
It don't matter. But I'm just saying it's out.
It matters.
Yeah, I had
it matters. You think you know me? It matters.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say it was out because of the dude. Because I think that's where a lot of us came from. He didn't get the dude that energy. But we're not gonna talk about that.
No, but I would have gave him that energy. Because that wasn't my wife's choice.
So now it's months later. It's passed on. We're trying to get by this, and on Twitter is hashtag after hashtag after hashtag, people just dragging your wife. You don't say nothing. You let it go. It's like, listen, we put it out there in the public so the public gets to talk about it. You don't think that maybe she's like, yo, you're not even going to let the people know that we passed this? Like, and maybe they did. Again, this is all speculation, y'all. I'm not trying to be like, I know these people's personal information, but.
Hold on.
What they said.
Tiffany Daniels said, if your wife had cancer and was bald due to it, would you want somebody ranking on her? If people think that's okay, you're weird, period. Beasley, wait. Beasley says she doesn't have cancer though.
Right.
Tiffany says, yes, I know. I'm using that as an example.
But that's irrelevant.
Because people be downplaying alopecia. Is that what it is that she has?
Yeah, alopecia. But that's beside the point because we already said earlier in this conversation, for those of y'all that's tuning in, we don't think Chris Rock knew. If he did know, then we can have that conversation. We all think he was ignorant to the fact that she had a serious condition. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Chris Rock makes that joke if he knows about the condition. So for those of y'all that's saying, and that's the exact comment that I was saying that people are making. People are saying that Chris Rock is out of pocket for the joke. I don't think he's out of pocket for the joke under the context that he jokes like that. His jokes are raunchy like that. His jokes are really blunt and out of pocket like that. And actually that particular joke was a nice joke. That was a nice joke compared to
he actually said that. He said that was a good one. That was a nice one.
I actually want to play.
Hold on. Goddess Free says, honestly, his family has been in the public for a long time. And you see how these opinions are out of pocket. A human can only take so much.
Right.
People joke about his marriage all the time. The last 2 red carpets, someone is always bringing up this entanglement, and that man says nothing. At some point, he looks at his wife and feels like, I have to protect my marriage. People have no idea that words stick. These are people. Stop expecting people to be so strong that they never react. Those two moved on. It's the public that continues to bring up things that they have figured out in their marriage. As I say, I would never want to be famous because, my God, the microscope you are under.
I agree. I think, and I've been saying that. I think this was the straw that broke the camel's back, man. This is built up, and you never know how people's gonna react. Right now, we just speculating. For those of y'all that just tuned in.
No, so to your point about Chris Rock, right? Like him, this is what he does. Cassandra says, so joking about medical conditions or disabilities is okay, then again, because they are trying to make people laugh.
They're assuming he knew. All those comments are assuming he knew about the medical condition. I don't think he knew. So you can't start the conversation saying, joking about medical conditions.
So your opinion, ignorance is an excuse.
Yeah, I think in this isolated situation, it is.
But how can you say in this isolated situation? Because you're speaking to Chris Rock as a general comedian in general, how comedians make, this is what they do.
Because I don't think he makes that joke if he knows. Again, we're assuming. I don't think he makes that joke if he knows. But because he doesn't know, it's like, okay, it's open game. Everybody in the audience is open game.
Okay, so in the audience, you're a stand-up comedian, you're in an audience, and there's
nobody that at least that you could see, nobody is in a wheelchair, right?
Okay.
And you decide to make wheelchair jokes.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's what comedians do.
Yeah. That's all I'm trying to say. That's fine. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's not an isolated incident. You're not talking. So you can generally take that principle. You mean that principle generally.
I say isolated because you're talking about a comedian hosting a show where his job is to be the comic relief of the night. Like that's literally
the same
his job.
thing. His job as a host for comic relief, or his job as a stand-up comedian. They're the same.
Yeah, in this sense, those two things come together.
Again, so
I don't understand the point you're trying to make.
Because you're trying to make a distinction, and I'm going. The distinction is unnecessary. Your distinction it applies in your mind. In if you're the comedic relief person, or if you're a bona fide stand-up comedian,
but if you have back knowledge, not everything is game. If
why?
you have back knowledge, right? And again, I talked about timing earlier, but I mean, if you're talking about something that happened 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, comedians tend to go in, a comedian will snatch stuff like that up without caring, right? But in this scenario where it would just had happened, because obviously Jada wasn't bald months ago, so this is very recent, and she's sick, if he knows, I don't think he does it.
And I'm sorry, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Jazima Shanice says, I agree with whoever said what you just read. But he knows hair is a sensitive topic. He made a documentary called Good Hair.
No, he doesn't.
Did he make a documentary called Good Hair?
Yeah, he made a documentary called Good Hair, but that was a joke. That was. Have you seen it? It was making fun of. It was making fun of women's hair. Chris Rock doesn't. He's not gonna care about hair.
I didn't see it.
Yo, I really want to play the. I want to play the clip of some of the jokes because I actually recorded this. He did like a 5-minute bid on slavery in the worst kind of way in the first Oscar he hosted in 2016.
And everybody cracked up.
Everybody was laughing. There was no outrage about him making slave jokes at the Oscars in front of a bunch of white people.
Yeah.
Right? So he said something along the lines of he was saying that why do when Will Smith and Jada wanted everybody to boycott the Oscars, he's saying I don't think people back in the day, for the last how many decades, it's common that black people are not nominated. He basically saying it's common that black people is not nominated for the Oscar. We don't see this often. He was like back in the 50s or 40s or 60s, 70s. He was like, black people was too busy being lynched to worry about if a black person was nominated. So why we worry now if a black person, like he literally said that joke and the whole place lit up. It was probably one of the most inappropriate pieces I ever heard in my entire life. And the whole place was lit up. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that because the host of the Oscars, especially when they choose comedians, they're going to get out of pocket. It's never been, it's always been, teetering on that line of inappropriate every time I've seen a comedian host the Oscars.
Yeah, I gotta watch this documentary. Good Hair. Is it on Netflix? Somebody's gotta let me know.
Good Hair was like, it was highlighting the crazy stuff that black people do with their hair, bro. Like that had nothing to do. That's not even a solid argument to that joke, but I see where you're going. I see where you're trying to go with that.
Because the point I want to see, how valid the point she's making. It might, it might be some truth to that. Tiffany Daniels said, if someone pointed to my son and made a joke regarding his disability, I would go off. That's the thing. People have to put themselves in other people's shoes sometimes. If your mother was balding due to a condition and a comedian, well, I see what you guys are saying, but Ro here is under the impression that Chris Rock didn't know. And a lot of people are. A lot of people are saying that he didn't know. I'm saying he must have known for two reasons. One, because he refers to Will and Jada as his friends. Now, whether he meant that in the general rich celebrity, we're all rich celebrity friend meaning or real friends, I don't know. Two, I say he had to know because I don't see Will Smith getting up and going to that, length if he felt the person on stage really had no idea, no clue.
I don't think he knew, man. Unless Chris Rock was really like the way how surprised he was, like how thrown off he was by him walking up on the stage and like it all felt.
He was thrown off because Will came walking up smiling at him and then just was like,
I'll be curious to know like if I'll be curious like if information came out later like, yo, I had already spoken to Chris in the back. I said, yo, my wife dealing with something.
Yeah, man.
Don't go there. And I feel like something like that might leak out in the weeks to follow. But from what we seen, I don't know. I don't know if he know.
Lori says, exactly. Why would he downgrade a black woman in front of a primarily white audience? Don't think he would. So I think Lori's saying she doesn't think he knew.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're saying, Lori.
I don't think
Beasley says, if people are going to be that sensitive, maybe no comedians at the awards, or they should approve the jokes and contract them to stay on script. That's true. Yeah. Like, you get into a fine line if, like, let's say he did know, right?
Right.
I mean, granted, a very seasoned comedian could find a billion other things to make a joke about.
Right.
And get the audience laughing rather than pointing out somebody who has a disability, even if you know. Okay. But in a general larger, context, right? Like if we start saying things like, there's always, in my opinion, as a comedian, I'm not a comedian, but for people who are comedians and me being a potential customer or audience member, right? I feel like there's always, I don't care how clean you think and innocent the joke is, I think there will always and forever be someone that joke could be relative to and be considered offensive.
Yeah.
I think literally
even the joke that you like personally, like, yo, I like that joke. Somebody somewhere is like, yo, that joke was inappropriate.
So in a society where we live right now, where that's a fact.
Yeah.
Then where does comedy go from there?
And that's the issue I hear comedians talk about all the time when I hear them in interviews, especially guys like Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle, because they teeter that line of like inappropriate. Like if you listen to any Dave Chappelle stand-up on Netflix right now, it's offensive. And not only to just white people, he has he has a joke on his last stand-up where he goes in on Martin Luther King. Like our beloved Martin Luther King that we think is like up there. Now,
one of Martin Luther King's grandchildren was in the audience.
Right, I'm just saying, like, so, but everybody after that Netflix special was released was like, yo, Chappelle the black community was like, Chappelle just killed it. Chappelle just da-da-da-da. One of the best comedians of all times. You see what I'm saying? We don't know when we want to...
Yeah.
When we want to go in on somebody for certain things and when we want to say, whoa.
We pick and choose.
We pick and choose.
I think we pick and choose to the degree that certain things impact us directly. Or we can find a similar feeling. Again,
and it connects to you personally. That's why a lot of women are just like, nah, yo, I love what Will did. Because they probably feel a certain type of way. Like, yo, if that was me, I would want my husband to step up for me too. And that's understandable. You connect to what... you connect to what the things that you feel like you could put yourself in.
I just think at the end of the day, you have to, if you're the husband in this scenario, if you're a wife, and again, I'm not the type that you guys see what the Free Lunch Podcast is about regularly. I'm not like the current events podcast. Like if you want to find that podcast, go find somebody else. There's tons of them. To an extent, I think it's overdone and it gets old. And then to another extent, I think it's like just really not cool in a way to say what people should or shouldn't do, which is why you have not heard me say that this entire time. Mm-hmm. What Will should have done, what Jada should have done. You'll never hear me say that. And especially with the sanctity that comes with marriage. Right?
Yeah.
I can't tell
that part.
Another husband what he should do in his marriage, right?
Yes,
I only know of the secret place in the private conversations me and my wife are having. And for us, I know, hey, this is what I'd like to think we would have done. Now, I will say, caveat is that neither my wife or myself, and my wife can correct me, if she wants. I can't, to my memory, I don't know of a time where there has been a heightened sense of things like this situation, where it would have warranted me coming out of pocket or my wife feeling like I needed to. And praise God for that. I thank God for that. I hope I never have to be in a situation like that.
I reiterate that because I don't know. That's such a specific series of things. Exactly. I don't know what I would do if those exact same things was happening to me in that type of setting. So I'm not gonna act like I what Will should have or shouldn't have done.
Well,
and all that.
But here's what I can say without it actually happening. What I can say is, as a husband, based on how I know I love my wife and how I know I wish to protect my wife, and right. Here's what I feel like I know I would have done. Here's the knowns. I know I would have looked to see if my wife is okay. Mm-hmm. I know I would have emotionally been extremely furious. Mm-hmm. I know my wife, because of how close she is to me and how we're knitted, I know my wife would have been able to immediately notice how pissed I am.
Yeah.
I don't know if my wife would have condoned or even allowed me to get up out of my chair.
Oh, I mean, if I'm getting up, I'm getting up. She wouldn't even been able to stop me at that point.
Well, no. My wife is totally capable of stopping me in that situation.
Oh, no.
Because in my marriage, I think, for me and my wife, we have a need inherently to feel like we're one. Yeah. And if my wife does something, it won't be my wife worrying about. Wait, let me finish. Let me finish the thought. No, pause. Let me finish my thought.
I'm gonna let you finish.
Because I'm gonna forget it. No. If my wife comes out of pocket, my wife does not care if she feels like she's,
Eddie, I'm with you on that.
If she's protecting if she calls herself defending her husband or her, neither one of us in that moment care about what the rest of the world or society's thinking.
Yeah.
In that moment, at least. Maybe the day after. Wait, let me finish.
There's one component.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
What either of us would be concerned with is how we look to one another. That is that. If there's gonna be any physical, biophysical or unseen force that's gonna stop either of us,
I like that.
It's going to be one of us.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be because we worrying about what the rest of the crowd and the white folk gonna think. No, if I'm about to get up on my seat and smack this dude, and my wife goes and grabs me, now I'm not trying to hurt or embarrass her.
Yeah.
So even though she might have been hurt and offended by whatever just happened, I'm not trying to go home with my wife disappointed in me. Right. I don't care about if the Twitter fans are disappointed in me, the academies. I don't want that to happen.
So here's the one component of this though, because just then in that scenario you just gave, you put all of the onus or much of the onus in your reaction on your wife's reaction or what she thinks. What you are gonna do. What part of you is doing it for you? What part of you says, "Hey, babe, this is something I gotta address. I understand you don't want me to.
I don't think much at all.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think a lot. I don't
think much at all. And I only said that because I only said that because I think my wife does a great job. Seeing how I very effectively make her feel safe and protected. So it would only be a moment of my wife suggesting to me, either verbally or non-verbally with a look, that, hold up, wait a second, something's occurred or occurring right now, and I'm not sure if you protect me or are defending me.
Yeah.
So now, and that's what I'm saying, we don't know what looks. People are saying that Will Smith saw the look, Jada gave him. I don't know if Will saw any look. He looked like he was looking straight.
I think that's why I agree with you when you said that laugh. I don't think that laugh was sincere. I think he heard it and was like, hey.
And it was like, I'm about to go in.
But I go back to my point about, and so I'll speak on my reaction in a sense. I think I would have to deal with, this would be a two-part thing for me. One, I'm checking in on my wife and I'm seeing how she feels. I'm wondering about her feeling and what, and the different emotions that she's going through. But I feel like what part of you, or in my case, what part of me as a man who considers himself the head of the household, the protector of my wife, like what do I feel like I need to do? And then I have to weigh those two things in a split second.
I got you.
Like,
I got you.
Yo, you know what I'm saying? Do I step up right here as a man and be like, yo, or do I just look to my wife and be like, you know what?
But so to that point, right?
Yeah.
If I let's take it to like a brutally black and white point just so we can narrow down the principle, right?
Yeah. Me
and my wife are walking down the street and out of nowhere from behind my wife, somebody stabs my wife. No, just listen.
It's extreme.
No. But listen.
I know what you mean. Go ahead.
I can visibly see that my wife, because now she's bleeding, she's hurt, she's been harmed, and she needs my protection and defense.
Right.
When you're dealing with something that is, when you're dealing with the harm of someone, namely your wife, where it would be an emotional harm, the only way I can gauge if there's a time that my wife needs my aid or defense is based on what she's giving me, what cues I'm looking. I can't assume just because. If I was the one going, well, that's a bad joke, sir. And then I jump to her aid, but my wife is sitting next to me and she's cracking up, hypothetically. Yeah. I'm not saying Jada was cracking up. I'm just saying, but if my wife is sitting next to me and she's laughing, what part of that should be about me? It's my wife with the disability. If my wife thought it was a hilarious joke and she's laughing.
That's the part. I still think, and again, I don't know what I would do, but I still think there's a part of me that would have to sort through what I would do despite her reaction. My wife is thick-skinned, so chances are she's like, it's okay, babe, don't even trip, it's whatever. But I might still be dealing with that mentally, like, nah, babe, I hear what you're saying, but he shouldn't have said that.
You might.
He shouldn't have said that. You know what I'm saying? And then I might react just off of what I feel. That's why I said you put a lot of the onus into what your wife would do and how she would kind of regulate you from doing that. And I'm saying, yes, I would take into consideration what my wife would do, but I'm also thinking, like, how do I feel about what he just said? Especially if that's supposed to be my boy. I think he would have been more Will's friend than he would have been Jada's friend, right? So especially if that's supposed to be my quote unquote friend, like I gotta wrestle that too now. I gotta think, you're supposed to be my boy, man. Like, or you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's two parts of me. I can't just put the whole thing on how my wife would handle the situation. Well, and it's a split-second decision, too. We talking like we had time to deliberate. Hey, honey, what do you think about what Chris this probably just happened in the span of like 2-3 minutes. Like, you know what I'm saying? What do you want to do? This happened probably quick.
Somebody said it would have been my kids would have been another story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kids definitely. I don't think a lot of people would disagree with that. I got a 7 and 11. You get them crying and them acting silly, it's not going to be a lot of conversation.
God is Free says, I want the best for my spouse, so if we can avoid physical altercations, we will. If it becomes physical, that means we did everything we could to prevent it before it happens. Facts. B. Bronson says, my point exactly. As a leader and protector, I'm going to get my point across in ways unphysical because my reaction does not only reflect me. He's reacting towards way softer than what his wife has put the family through in the past. And yes, he was pushed to it, but come on. Chris didn't touch her.
See, B. Bronson, this is the wrestling concept that we're having. B. Bronson is saying it's a reflection on both of them, assuming that he had time to actually reflect. Like, we're talking like this man had time to really reflect on what just happened. These type of decisions are split decisions, like in the heat of a moment.
Well, apparently somebody said that it was the second time he had made a joke about.
Well, somebody else made a joke on Jada before him. Regina Hall made a joke about Jada before, and Jada laughed at that joke because Regina probably her girl. You know what I'm saying? That's probably, hey, that's my sis right there. Hey, that was funny.
But see, there's that part too, where if you have the actual real relationship,
that's a big part.
You actually might get to make fun of my wife, but not this dude.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it.
That's facts.
Yeah, when you got a relationship with somebody, it hits different.
Yeah, facts.
It's different. they wasn't boys. I'm sorry, they wasn't.
They wasn't boys.
They wasn't boys.
Because if they was boys, he would have been like, all right. No.
They wasn't boys.
But I will say, I was totally shocked to see how crazy Chris took that smack.
Yo, this man.
He took that smack like
this
a
man
whole
this
entire
man said,
champ.
Wow.
Yo, he needs to win an Oscar just
he said, wow.
Yo.
I think you know what looks bad for Chris? The fact that he ain't even try to he ain't try to swing back, he ain't try to do nothing, he ain't try to run up on him. He was just like, I didn't watch the entire Oscars. Somebody need to tell me if Chris Rock actually came back out on the stage and introduced any other categories or any other.
Or was he back there with ice?
Was he just back there like, yo, it's over, I'm done?
I don't know. Did anybody else finish watching the rest of it?
Did he come back out?
Did Chris come back out?
If that man came back out, man, he a true professional. If he came back out, he gonna do the next Oscars. They're gonna be like, bro, we got to.
Yo, we got to, man.
Because
we sorry we didn't have security.
We sorry. You know what I'm saying? Security ain't come out help you.
Nah, man.
He ain't pressed no charges, so the police wasn't all up in the back. Like they might have to. They probably gonna use that as a way to bring him back.
Goddess Risa, Will took Chris' face back to his seat.
Yo, he did. But you see how he checked his jacket after he did it? He was like, it looked like a scene out of Bad Boy. Like he just went like this. He was like, bang, smacked him, came back, checked his jacket, was like, yeah, I just did that. And then he said, get my wife's name out your mouth.
Yes.
Chris was like, yeah, okay, I will.
What else can you say? What else can you say in that moment other than, yes, I will, sir? Yes, sir.
After you done got smacked?
You're right.
Not much. You can't. There's not much
You're
you can
right.
say.
I was tripping. Tripping.
He probably was in shock the whole time. And then
I would have been shocked.
And then Denzel pulled my man to the side. First of all, I don't know why Tyler Perry was in that little circle. If anything, Madea should have been in that circle because Madea would have had some advice for. Madea would have had some real advice. I don't know why Tyler Perry was there, but Denzel put him to the side, man, and was like, "Listen, be careful, because at your highest moment, you know what I'm saying."
Chris should have taken every other second to apologize. That's B. Bronson. Goddess Reset, they all about to be on Red Table Talk. We giving it more energy than they are.
Yo.
It's going to be the biggest Red Table Talk ever.
Yo, my coworker said that. As soon as I got into work, my coworker was like, yo, y'all don't understand the fuel. This just give, Red Table Talk, which leads to the people that think it was staged. The people that think it was staged are like, yup, that's what it was. Yep. Red Table Talk fuel. They about to blow this up. The show wasn't getting views like that anyways. This is it. This is what's gonna do it.
Look at it's not outside of possibility.
Especially those two. They're super calculated.
They're very wise, intelligent, smart people. Calculated.
Man. It could be a Red Table Talk push. Season 8. Will and Jada discuss the slap heard around the world.
Yeah, facts.
This episode.
Yo,
you never know, man.
In any event,
yes, sir.
I'm gonna hurry up and get myself home so I can still steal some time while the pregnant wife is home, still awake.
Yes, sir.
So I ain't getting slapped.
You feel me? My wife called. I was like, nah, see, I'm with the fellas right now. You know what I'm saying? We just talking. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I gotta get up out of here.
Get up out of here.
I gotta get up out of here. I got the little man with me. He chilling. I don't know what he doing over there. But listen, for those of y'all that tuned in, man, I appreciate y'all. Conversation was fire. I love the feedback. I love the different perspectives. You know what I'm saying? Tell the people about the free lunch, man.
Y'all know season 3 of Free Lunch is popping off in like 2 days. March 30th. Make sure y'all tune in. If you're not subscribed on Apple, iTunes, Spotify yet, get up there. We got a ton of episodes loaded in the chamber already. It's free food for your soul, as always. Again, I'm not always about the quarterback and the latest drama of the day, but my boy Ro, you can see how he's a big argumentative dude. He just like come up here arguing with me, y'all. Y'all know this dude.
He was
here for season 1, episode 1, very first episode. So shout out to my man Ro. Always willing to come through and chop it up, have a dope conversation. And we're always looking for guests, man, on the show. So make sure you guys are hitting your boy up in the DM. Shoot me a message. That's pretty much that, man.
Yeah, man. And, you know, I can't end the
Are
show.
we gonna be able to? Are we gonna be able to see more of you as the co-host on season 3?
I'm around, man. I'm around, man. You know me and you. We love to chop it up about everything. I'm always about different perspectives. We don't do the yes man stuff around here. We talk and we hash out on everything.
Facts.
And remember, right? Be careful, right? When you're in your highest moments, that's when the devil comes.
Facts.
That's what he told him, man. That's what he told him.
It's free food for your soul. You know what? Take us away with what's the edifying piece for the soul with this whole experience? What do you think is the takeaway that everybody watching and doing all their speculating? What's the takeaway?
The takeaway. I think I'm gonna speak to the married folks. I think it's very important that you and your spouse strive to be one, not just in things that you like and dislike, but one in spirit and one in character. Because I think if those things, if there is some symmetry with those things, I think most people are satisfied with the outcome of a decision like this, no matter what the decision was. If there's symmetry in character, and you got oneness in spirit, because then you will agree with my approach. You will support my approach. Okay. I will support your approach. All
right.
And if you're okay with that, you don't really care what anybody else thinks, man. You don't really care.
Here's my takeaway. My takeaway is know what hill is worth it. Like, know what hill is worth it in your marriage. Have that conversation. Because there has been things they didn't manifest and come to pass, but there have been things that my wife and I in private have discussed and have said to ourselves, if this happens or if this happens, we find letting the whole thing burn to the ground. And you know what I mean? There's some things that may be worth it for you. The thing you don't want is for it to be something worth it to you, but not your spouse.
Right.
You gotta be on the same page. I think the other takeaway would be, if you're not married, right? That's the takeaway for, married folk. If you're not married, I think the takeaway is
stay out of married folk business.
Yes, that part. If you're not married, stay out of married folk business.
Don't tell married folk what they should or shouldn't be doing.
Facts. And I think if you're not married, the takeaway here is I'm not playing. I think the takeaway here, if you're not married, is really just read the room. Know how to read the room, because you never know when a smile might walk up to you and slap you in the face.
Wait, one more, because this one more. The one that we talked about when we said, spouses, whether it's the husband or whether it's the wife, doesn't matter. You know your spouse. Don't put batteries in their back that you can't, handle after they done did what you fueled them to go do.
Yeah.
I'm saying, if you know your husband type to punch somebody in the face and you didn't fuel them to do it, then he punched somebody in the face and get locked up, that's just as much your fault as it is his fault. Facts. Okay, and vice versa. Like, know each other. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't be putting batteries in people's backs, man, that you ain't about.
Facts. Appreciate y'all. Till next time, it's free lunch, free food for your soul, y'all. Peace.